in a world crying out for a top 10 show. John Roca and Matt Nost are here to bring you the top 10. Take it away, boys. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Topic Thunder. Here from the Top 10 Show, I am John Roca.
I am Matt Nost, and we are excited to be here for another week of Topic Thunder. It is a show that is patron-driven. They send in the questions, whatever in the world they are, to a specific email address that only they can find because they support us over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10. Almost ran out of breath there. And so whatever you guys want to talk about or have us talk about, that's what we do. And I don't know who starts this time. Do you?
I think you start this time. I think I started last time. So
okay.
let's have fun.
Jumping right in. This first one is from Fredtastic.
Nice.
Says, hey, John and Matt, I have a simple question. What are the most memorable movie moments?
Ooh. Moments
that still linger in your brain to this day for whatever reason. One of mine is from the Warriors. Warriors, come out and play. Have a great day, and I'll keep listening. Fred Castillo.
Thank you, Fred. Wow, that's a very big question, actually.
It is. It's huge.
You know, there are so many moments. Yeah.
What about while you're in the movie theater? That narrows it down a little.
Oh, okay. Certainly when Captain America got the hammer from Thor, and then certainly Captain America when he said "Avengers Assemble" in the same movie.
For sure.
I would say Rocky IV when Stallone beat Drago. I remember people losing their minds in the theater. Hoosiers, Jimmy Chitwood hitting that last shot. Field of Dreams, you want to have Catch. Remember the Not a Dry Eye in the House. Mm-hmm. And one that we don't talk about enough, The Untouchables. I remember that whole sequence in the train station with the baby and all just the way De Palma shoots that thing. Mm-hmm. Incredible to watch him do that. So I think that's one of those. I think those are some moments that stick out for me. What about you?
You know what kills me about Untouchables watching it now is the music at times is so 80s.
Oh, yeah.
It's like this digital harpsichord and like,
yeah.
It's such a good movie. And then it's just like, oh, this fucking soundtrack at times. Because other times it's pitch perfect.
Who does that soundtrack, brother? I think it might be Zimmer. Anyway, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
The Raid, seeing that in the theater.
Oh yeah.
And when the dude gets his head bashed into the I think it's the wall or the door jamb, but it gets bashed in like 6 straight times as he's falling, and it looked realistic and hyperbolic. And my only reaction was to start laughing because my brain couldn't process the amount of action. And I wasn't alone. There was a couple you could hear other people laughing like, oh my God. Because I couldn't. That and like the Rambo one with the missionaries.
Oh yeah.
When he's just firing through and numerous dudes, their legs just get blown out at the knee, and seeing that made me just the gratuitous nature of the violence.
They're getting sliced up like crazy. Yeah.
I remember at the end of There Will Be Blood, it just cuts to black. And my first thought was, that was awesome. And there was an old couple in front of me. It was like a group, 2 old couples. And one of the ladies turned to the guy next to her. And by old, I mean, they were probably in their 70s.
Yeah.
Old as fuck, you 70-year-old. But she turned to, I'm assuming her husband was like, is that it? And in my head, I was like, you're goddamn right. That is it. That was awesome.
It's a 2.5 hour movie. What do you want? Yeah.
Exactly.
How much more do you want?
What ending did you expect for a pure narcissistic, ego-driven alcoholic?
True. Very good point.
It's not going to end happy. It's not.
Yeah.
No alcoholic's life story ends well.
Yeah.
Even the Frank Sinatras of the world, I'm sure he had a boatload of regrets at the very end.
I've had a few. When Harry Met Sally, that ending when he's like, when you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you want the rest of your life to start as soon as possible. I remember that moment in the theater. That was people like froze in that moment, man.
A lot of these in theater references are too old for me. I saw them on VHS.
So. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. Oh, all right, youngin. All right.
Fucking 70-year-old.
Titanic. What about Titanic? Anything about the ship?
I didn't see it in the theater.
Okay.
I saw it years later, and I understand, but it's just not.
I mean, something for Matt Nose, the opening of Saving Private Ryan, dude. That, right? I mean, that you just are like frozen.
Yeah.
The first time you watch that opening, it is so graphic and real, and overwhelmingly real that you feel like you're there.
And those that lived it was like it captures the essence. And you're like, that means the reality was so much more chaotic and horrendous.
Yeah. It's really hard to think about, dude.
Those APCs or whatever they are that drop the troops on the beach, the one that gets rifled through, that's the one that kills me every time. Is like, death hit you before you could even see it.
Like you psych yourself up and you're ready to go, and all of a sudden there's a bullet in your heart and you're done. Like, what happened? How
many of those boats do you think smelled like shit? Literal shit.
Oh my God, I don't know. I haven't even thought of it like that. How does that thought even come to your mind?
It just did right now. I've never had the thought before, but I mean, well, think about it. It just the nerves of some of those guys. Eventually, the moment has to be so overwhelming. I'm not denigrating the individual.
I see what you're saying.
I'm just saying, like the fear and just like their brain can't function.
Right.
And they accidentally shit themselves.
Oh, so you're talking about on the APC, because you said how many of those bullets smell like shit
on that beach in general.
Oh, the beach, right. Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah,
but the boats, specifically, how many of those boats you think on the way over smelled like shit?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, because these guys weren't showering every day or some shit, so
vomit for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure, vomit. Yeah, I mean, people don't want to show that, but that's like the truth,
Oh, dude, a friend of mine, he's a comic, and he's got a great story. He tells it on stage every once and again, where he was in Iraq and they were crossing this road. And I'm not going to do I'm just going to do the nuts and bolts. I'm not going to do the jokes or anything.
Right.
But he was running across the street and they were taking fire, and he dropped his iPod and he went back for it.
Oh my God.
And it's a fucking hell of a story. And he peppers it in because there's this guy that he was part of this platoon that had this very distinct Southern drawl. It was like this elongated, like, "Hey, man." And he yelled out over it, and it just like the way he sets it up and everything. It's a very funny story, but Jesus Christ, it's an iPod. Like, so early in iPod technology. So I can understand why you were like, gee, I need this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, fuck, is it worth your life?
I'm not going to make it if I don't have my music.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make it.
It's just a banana story.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that really I'm sure there's a crap ton of moments I'm forgetting or missing, but like those are the ones. The shootout scene in The Matrix when they show up in the elevator and the two of them walking into that building, that entire sequence, man.
Are you talking about when they walk through the metal detectors?
Yeah, the metal detectors and all of that. You're just like, holy shit. It was just part brilliant.
I thought you were talking about the final one where they're jumping at each other because you were kind of used to it, but you hadn't seen gunfire like that before.
Right.
Yeah, that was a badass scene.
Right?
That Avengers assemble, man. That the portals coming through when you knew it was coming.
Yeah.
That's what makes it so good. They're not dead.
Right.
For all the people that are like, oh my God, what happened? And you're like, look, they killed off franchises for one movie. Not going to happen. They'll find. It's a comic book. No one dies. So
Feige's like, well, just no. Yeah,
exactly. That they took out Guardians of the Galaxy. They took out Black Panther. Just like
Spider-Man.
Black Panther just did $1 billion. Do we really think in any fucking world Disney's going to be like, we're good? We're good.
I took care of that thing, guys. I took care of that thing. Yeah. Thanks, Kevin. Well,
look, if that made it into the final and somehow the heads of the studio were oblivious to it, everybody else would be fired. They would be fired too.
True. Very good point. All right, let's move on to the next one. Thank you very much to
Mr. Fred Castillo.
Yeah, fantastic. All right,
go for it.
This one is from Ellis or Emi. Howdy, John and Matt. The infamous Offspring Menchaca. Oh, Ellis Menchaca. There he is.
Yeah, I can smell your stink from here.
Talk about boats that smell like shit. I've dug their sound and general vibe for years, and nothing, not even the continual verbal bashing I get from one of my favorite podcasts, is going to change that. Knowing this, I'm wondering if there are any bands from the last decade you would recommend that would fit my particular taste. Insert no taste joke here. If they're older than the last decade, I've probably heard of them, but I just don't keep up with much new music. Why do you think we do? If it helps, some of my other favorite acts are Foo Fighters, Eminem, Johnny Cash, and the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Second question: if you could only ever again either watch future movies that are yet to be released or movies that have already been released, what do you pick? I appreciate that you guys, quote, come out swinging each week and that you haven't gone away during the pandemic. These are all in quotation marks. I'm not sure why. Maybe these are Offspring songs. Take care, and Matt, you will always be pretty fly for a white guy. There you go, Ellis Menchaca. Oh, he has a cell phone, his fax, and his office number. And little quote at the bottom here, Matt, helping Texas families affordably meet their insurance needs since 2005. There you go.
Beautiful. We should call him at work and heckle him.
Oh, my God. We should so fucking call him at work and make him put him on speakerphone.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Got to speak to Ellis Menchaca. Actually, can you just tell him the Offspring suck? Yeah. What? Ellis, we're getting strange calls, not sending emails and faxes. Just a Xerox of both of our asses. Yeah. The offspring written across our buttholes. Just
not doing that, but I think I like the idea.
Well, dude, you could use an ass double and just find.
No, that's fair. I'm gonna get an ass double.
Then you got to search that out. So that's its own little problem.
It takes a long time. Like Vera Farmiga having that ass double up in the air.
I'm just gonna cut my balls and do it. Just literal sack up and do it.
Oh, there it is. Suck it, Menchaca. Yeah. All right. So, any bands from the last 10 years for you, man?
The last 10. Royal Blood, but I brought them up before.
Okay.
Strokes' new album is good. Queens of the Stone Age, but Queens has a lot of good albums outside of their first one, Songs for the Deaf.
Okay.
Like Clockwork, Era Vulgaris, and Villains, all three good albums.
Okay.
TV on the Radio, but I think they're older than 10 years. But Dear Science, Return to Cookie Mountain, and Something with Lights, 9 Lights or something. Those are three good albums.
Okay.
The Arctic Monkeys' first album I liked a lot, and then I think it was their second or third album I liked a lot.
Okay.
Early Black Keys, but that's before 10 years ago.
Okay.
Strokes
are good. I like the Strokes.
Pixies, that's before 10 years.
Oof, that's way before 10 years. Yeah.
It is. Look, man, I'm pulling the Raconteurs.
I'm not trying to bash it. I'm just saying.
Raconteurs.
The Raconteurs are good. Okay. I like the Raconteurs. I've heard of them.
Early Muse.
Okay.
Showbiz, Absolution, and Origin of Symmetry.
Okay.
I like those three early albums. I don't know. What do you got?
I mean, I'll have to condone the Black Keys. I do enjoy the Black Keys. See, I'm looking here to see if there's anything. Yeah. Some people like the Vampire Weekend. I go back and forth with them. I like the 1975. I like that kind of British pop or British kind of rock pop that I enjoy.
Black Keys, if you haven't listened to Thick Freakness, that's one of their early albums that I love. I can think of that one off the top of my head. But
there you go. Let's see.
The Mars Volta, but they're older than 10 years.
Okay. Mars Volta's good.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy seeing how many bands that I know of. Bon Iver, a lot of people like Bon Iver.
Yeah, but that's nowhere near his taste.
Yeah, no, okay, I suppose you're right. All right. Man, interesting. I'm looking at the Rolling Stone Top 100, and I'm trying to jog my memory about some of these.
If you like any rap or hip hop, Kendrick Lamar,
absolutely.
Run the Jewels. I like Action Bronson.
Action Bronson rarely puts stuff out. Yeah.
His early stuff is really good. I wish he would still put out albums, but I like Action Bronson.
Some people like
Pauly.
Okay.
The Roots Phrenology is a great album.
Yes, The Roots. Shout out to Malik B, the late great Malik B.
Yeah, but anything else from the last 10 years, I'm not sure. Like I like certain songs from guys, but I haven't listened to whole albums.
Yeah, it's amazing as I look at this top 100 of Rolling Stone, how many of them are like older acts, like Paul McCartney and Leonard Cohen and U2. Like on this top 100 list. It's kind of crazy. I didn't think they would make a top 100 list include the older acts,
Where are they?
Oh, some in the top 50. Others in the bottom 50. It's just interesting.
Any in the top 25?
Good question.
Top 40.
What about St. Vincent? Oh, no, St. Vincent probably ain't his style. Like Paul McCartney is number 62. That's crazy to me with that album of his. It's all right. It's just not great. I mean, I think country.
I think that's a legacy pick. Leonard Cohen, U2. It's like you got to put them on because they are what they are and they're still putting out music.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, U2's made Paul McCartney and Cohen has been a huge influence. So all three of them are.
Springsteen's in the top 40.
Yeah, exactly. But
Drake,
do you know anybody that listens to that?
Yeah, no, I don't know anybody. And I'm of that age where I should listen to that, but I don't. David Bowie is number 5 with Black Star.
Okay. I haven't listened to it.
LCD Sound System is number 10.
Kanye
West is 13 actually with Yeezus. I like Kanye. I know he's a crazy person, but I like Kanye.
Arcade Fire. He might like them, but they might be a little too hipsterish. He liked a lot of bread and butter rock and roll and then the shit of Offspring. So
Offspring is shit, man.
Yeah, it is. It's bad.
Is Offspring Keep Them Separated? Is that Offspring as well? Oh,
yeah. God. And if you know that song, you know about 90% of their catalog. I'm not joking. That's in essence, they just keep redoing the same fucking song. So if you don't buy into it, then you literally do not buy into it.
Hey, I used that next to me. All right, there we go. All right, let's move on first to the second question. So if you could only ever again either watch future movies that have yet to be released or movies that have already been released, what do you pick? So from this point forward, do you ever just watch future movies and never see the old ones, or do you stop here? Your movie watching for the rest of your life and just watch the old ones over and over again, or discover the old ones that you've never watched before? It's a tough question, man.
It is a tough question.
Yeah.
Because
you don't have to answer it if you don't want to.
Well, it's
our decision.
Average life expectancy, I have another 25 to 30 years of movies.
True.
But it does include stuff that was made before my time as well. You know what I mean? So are the next 30 some odd years for me going to trump all the previous? No.
Yeah. You don't think so, huh?
It's a lot of, many years of good movies.
I'd have to agree with you, Matt. We're not making classics like we used to. Like the frequency or the volume, I think that we used to. I think we're still making classic films. I just don't think we're at the volume.
Well, I think there was also a shift in volume from the 60s and 70s once the ratings changed and we could go out with more adult stuff. Perhaps there was just a floodgate of pent-up ideas and scripts.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
They had so much to choose from over that first decade because it does start to wane a little bit off the top of my head, I'm guessing. I think I'm speculatively saying this because I can't really back it up with any example right now. But to me, like it's the heart of the 70s is where they really churned out, 72 to 77, so shit like there.
I mean, you could argue some of the 90s independent film movement stuff could be classics.
Yeah.
But I just don't, but epics are rare. Like 1917 is an epic. It's fantastic.
And
Braveheart,
it's a classic.
It's a classic. Yeah.
Well, I mean, over the recent couple of years, so 1917, Jojo Rabbit for me, that's now, I love that.
Do you think
movie.
that's a classic? Okay.
To me, it is.
Okay.
I will watch it again and again and again. Like maybe not the frequency of others, but There Will Be Blood.
That's a classic. Absolutely.
But then No Country the same year.
Yeah, No Country's I think it just barely crosses the line of a classic. Like it's that touchdown where the ball just barely crosses the plane. Not because it isn't an incredibly thought-provoking film, but it's a heist film. It's an adventure film. It's a chase film. It's only the Tommy Lee Jones stuff that's masquerading as the classic part of it. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, really?
Into the pathos of the character.
Just saying.
Or the story. That all right. Yeah.
Like it ain't Josh Brolin that's making it a classic. It's Javier Bardem and what he's doing and Tommy Lee Jones, which is essentially,
2/3 of the movie.
Yes, 2/3 of the movie, but not full.
It's pretty excellent.
Yeah. I love the movie.
Yeah. I just think its rewatchability is higher than There Will Be Blood. Although qualitatively, I think There Will Be Blood is more of an art film.
Yes, I agree. Yes. It's like Parasite. People could argue Parasite is an instant classic.
Yeah.
But then you could argue on the other side, like, no, it's not, because it's another film about wealth, about the difference in classes and the economy and things like that. But there's a way they do this film that kind of elevates it beyond its normal cliche of wealth. It's this biting, dark, satirical humor, and then combined with the pretty graphic ending that you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, that happens with Oscar movies sometimes.
Exactly.
Green Book, The Shape of Water.
I'll probably never see that again.
I don't think so at this point. I liked it coming out.
Yeah, I did too.
It made my top 10 list, I believe, that year. But over time, it's just like, I don't think I'm going to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, I won't go back to watch La La Land. And Moonlight could be considered a classic by some people for sure.
Yeah, I don't think I need to see it again. I've seen it.
Yeah, same.
Let's see what others. Hurt Locker, I'm good.
Yeah, I never need to see that again.
Was that a leaf blower?
Oh, sorry, no, it's my air conditioner. I turned it down. It's just keeping me.
No, that's fine. If it just needs to kick up to get it up to a specific temp, go ahead.
It's just killing me right now. Yeah, I don't know if there's another classic. I mean, some people could argue Wonder Woman. Some people might argue Wonder Woman because of that World War One stuff and whatever. But I don't know.
I think if anybody has solid argument against the third act, which I can understand what they're saying,
right?
So that to me would ding it from being. It's like somebody trying to tell me that First Avenger is a classic. Like, dude, I got so many problems with that personally. Your idea of what it is utterly independent of mine. So
yes, true, very true.
Enjoy, your belief. I don't really give a shit. I don't feel the same way.
Yeah. Let's see here. Brokeback Mountain, is that a classic?
Do you rewatch it? I'm sure it is for.
No, but I think Zodiac could be a classic, dude.
Yes, that to me is I've watched that in quarantine.
Yeah.
I seem to watch that like every 18 months or so.
Yeah, There Will Be Blood, Zodiac, definitely. Let's see. Any of the Pixar movies? No, I don't think any of the Tarantino films are classics. Is Inception a classic?
No, not to me.
Social Network, I think, is a classic.
I think it could be considered.
Yeah. The Master? What about The Master?
To me, it is, but that's a specific. Most people don't hold that same opinion.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
But I fucking love that movie. I think it's brilliant.
Some people would argue Dunkirk. I do not, but some people would.
As we discussed for racist reasons last week.
Yes. Yeah. All right. That's good. I think it's a good attempt at answering that question.
Donnie Brasco, I think, is a classic, but that's a 90s.
Okay. It is the 90s for sure. All right, Ellis Menchaca. Keep helping those people down in Texas with their insurance, my man.
Thank you, sir. Moving on to the next one.
Yeah.
This is from Colson Kouliopoulos.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Says, hey, Matt and John, hope you guys are doing well. I had an interesting conversation with my friend the other day, and I thought I would run it by the two of you.
Okay.
In your opinion, what is the most recent film to progress the art of filmmaking in any meaningful way?
Oh, what a perfect question, my man.
Yeah. I think we can all agree that like Citizen Kane, Rashomon, Breathless, The Godfather, Star Wars, and so on further the medium in some way, either narratively or technically. But what films in the last 30 years or so would you put on this level? Ultimately, we landed on 1995's Toy Story as the most recent film that fits this criteria. Really? Thank you for taking my question. Looking forward to Top 10 Jeopardy. I sent this right before it started.
Yeah, it's called The Golden Ticket.
The Golden Ticket.
Yeah.
I
would not put Toy Story in that conversation, but I respect that they want to do that. Nah, I would.
Fully computer generated?
Yeah, it's cool.
And it was successful? Like that pushes the art of filmmaking.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It just doesn't strike me in that same way, I guess. But I totally respect that people do. And I'm sure there are animation people listening to us going, Rocco, you're fucking insane. I get it.
I mean, you could say on that level, pretty much anything Cameron has done after a certain point, like look at Abyss or Avatar, like he's pushing the boundaries of what is possible to do and pull off. I don't know if they're always successful, but he is pushing filmmaking.
Yeah. I would throw Pulp Fiction in that conversation, not because of the overall quality of the film, which is good and a lot of people love, but the kind of the nonlinear storytelling, which we've seen before in flashbacks, but the way he does it, forcing you to mentally create the timeline in your head as you're watching the movie. I think that's pretty incredible what he was able to do there. And how many 3 or 4 films came after Pulp Fiction trying to imitate that same kind of vibe and narrative. So I would say it's pretty influential in that way.
Good. Yeah. No qualms there.
Yeah.
What about 1917? Since we just talked about it, but that single shot and the way they orchestrated all those scenes and the sets, the lighting, cameras floating in and out and having to do these big, huge, long takes.
Yep. I would put 1917 in that conversation. Absolutely.
And by that merit, then Birdman.
Oh yeah, sure. I'll go back and watch Birdman. Look, Good Dinosaur is a terrible movie. However, it is the first. It was like the first film that was completely computer generated or something. There was something unique about The Good Dinosaur.
I never saw it because I heard it was shit.
It is a terrible movie, man.
No, first fully computer, I believe, is Toy Story.
Let's see here.
The first one CGI element ever was from an Indiana Jones, like young Indiana Jones series, where this knight jumps out of stained glass. I know that.
Right.
Was it the first, like the Lion King, where it's meant to look like? So it's the first.
It says here, raises the bar for the natural world, making the natural world look realistic in animation.
Okay.
Because I remember I went to it's a 3D computer animated comedy adventure film. I remember going to the whatever you call it, the junket for In and Out for the Blu-ray release, and they were showing us things from Good Dinosaur and how much they had to take out all the old computers and bring in completely new computers to do the rendering for the natural world in the movie to make it seem photorealistic. That's it. Photorealism. It's the first film that's completely photorealistic from beginning to end. And so that's the moniker there. And I think it's an incredibly visual, it's visually an incredible film. In the way it's presented. The film itself, not as good, the story, the narrative, what have you, but the film, the way it looks, you're just like, wow, it's insane because animation has just grown by leaps and bounds. I remember when getting hair right was a big deal, or Ocean Waves was a big deal. Yeah. The fact that Good Dinosaur got the entire like forests and leaves and grass and all that so realistic, that's the thing that's fantastic. So, yeah.
Did you ever see The Sound of Thunder?
What is that one? I don't think I have.
What's his name? The dude from Boston who kind of had a shot but didn't. Think Ben Affleck, but not Ben Affleck.
Cole Hauser?
No. Not in the same posse like a few years before.
Okay. Is it called The Sound of Thunder?
The Sound of Thunder.
It's a movie?
It's him, Ben Kingsley. Yeah.
Oh,
so they got a certain, I think it's based on a Philip K. Dick novel. And it's about going back in time. There you go. Ed Burns.
Yeah.
Okay. The Afflecky Baldwin type of the late 90s version of that.
Interesting.
Okay. But they got it to a certain point, the CGI, and they never finished it.
Oh.
And they released it. So it's super rough. The movie as a whole is unsuccessful. Like it's not as riveting, but there is something there. You could make a good movie out of it.
Wow.
Out of that idea. And even come close to replicating, but it's like they take tourists in essence. You have to pay a lot of money, take a couple people at a time, travel back in time to a very specific moment in time where they know this dinosaur is going to die anyway. So they take these tourists, and the tourists get to fire a blaster because it won't make any difference. And then one time they go back and they fuck up for the first time, and the ripple effect, that's the sound of thunder. Just it keeps progressing, keeps hammering them. It's like, there's an interesting premise in there.
Wow.
But the movie is mediocre, but the effects are like, they didn't come close. It's like worse than Scorpion King.
Oh yeah. That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
That is pretty
I've
bad.
only seen the bad CGI in that. I've never sat down to watch it. The Mummy fell off a cliff for me, and I wasn't, I
totally respect that.
Yeah. When that came out, I was like, no. Plus that was Rock's first acting role, and wrestlers at that time, by and large, never made the jump to legitimate movies.
Nope, not to legitimate movies. No, you're right about that.
Jesse Ventura.
Roddy had They Live, but Andre, it wasn't like Roddy went on to 20 films.
Exactly. Yeah. They have one-offs here and there. Andre the Giant, Princess Bride.
Yeah, right. It's like George. Yeah, never mind. I don't want to say that.
Yeah, Murasan or.
Yeah, I don't want to say that's not true. It's terrible. He was terrible in that movie. Anyway, all right, we're at 29 minutes, man. You want to wrap it?
Yeah, let's call it there.
All right. Well, thanks to everybody who sent in your questions. Really appreciate you all sending in the questions and testing our knowledge, testing how deep we can go in to answer them. I like this.
Yeah, we had a robust discussion about music and movies, all thanks to our patrons over at patreon.com/the top 10. And once again, you can find that email address to participate in the show at the $5 tier and up. Join us over there. We got all kinds of different shit for you guys. That's what we do. We pack in the goodies each month for low prices.
That's right. Low prices. You get all kinds of entertainment from us. And let us know how much was that.
Did you ever do a sales job?
Yeah, I hated it.
Me too.
First 5 years of my employment was going from sales job to sales job to sales job. And everyone's like, you're so good at it. Because you're so nice and personable. And all I felt was guilty, Matt, that I knew what I was selling was shit and that it was going to break down. And I hated it, man. Hated it. And I swore after the 5th year, I was like, I'm never going to do this again. And I don't care what else I have to do. I'm not going to do this again. Hated it.
For you.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's a moral thing, right? You're like, I know I'm selling you this crappy shit and it's going to break down inside at some point, but you got to take this annual tape deck is just the top of the line, just like terrible, man. I hated it. Why?
It just got me thinking that doing the bad sales pitch. I've had one truly awful sales job.
Oh, yeah.
And I did it for 9 days. And then I just told him, I was like, I'm not coming in again.
Yeah.
Well, it was, I moved and I spent all the money on the move and getting an apartment and whatever else. I was like, I got to find work ASAP. And it was showed up and you're walking, you go to these business parks and you go office to office carrying a satchel of shit. And you just try and sell to secretaries and whatever else.
Yeah.
And you sell like, this is what, in essence, it costs the company. This is what they need to clear. And anything in excess of that is what you clear.
Wow.
So yeah, and I did it for 9 days. I was okay at it, but I was like, I can't. It's soul sucking to walk into every one of these offices.
Yeah. Absolutely, dude.
Like, do you want to buy this 5-pack of NFL greatest hits VHSs? And VHSs are dying as an industry.
Yeah.
And Bed Bath and Beyond knockoff soap packet thing. I did that for like 2 days. Dude, that's like 9 days, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
I could get me out of here. I can't do it.
I did a telemarketing job for 2 days once, and I was like, this is awful. I don't know how you people are doing it.
Right on.
Yeah. Good for you if you can. If you can muster up the day in, day out, I couldn't do it.
No judgment.
Yeah.
If you can do it, much love to you.
I worked at a car wash in a Midwestern summer when it's 100% humidity for 3 months because I needed a summer job. I managed to make it through that. I just didn't want to do door-to-door sales. Yeah. Can't do that.
Totally get it, man. Totally get it. Trust me, I totally get it. All right. Well, anyway, that was our topic thunder. Thank you all so much for listening to it or watching it. And thank you all so much for being a patron of the Top 10 show. And hey, if you're hesitating about it, look at this. We'll answer any question that you ask. We get to every question eventually down the road. We answer every single one that we can. So, it's not a wasted effort for you to come aboard and send your stuff in to have us answer it. Join the patron as well. So thank you all so much for that. Any final words, Matt?
No, that's it.
All right. Take care of yourselves, everybody. Follow Matt at Matt Nost. Follow me at The Rocha Says, and we'll talk to you next time for another episode of Topic
Thunder.